What's up, Daily Dosers? My name's Cameron. I'm one of the life group pastors out at our San Marcos Escondido campus, and we're in the book of Exodus, and we're continuing on in the story of Moses. And my bet is, as you went into the series, you probably had some ideas surrounding this heroic figure. You see, Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. We're told that he took the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. He met with God on a mountaintop and became the giver of the law, which were God's commandments for his people. Just an incredible life used by God. But what I love about Moses is he was actually very human, and his responses were a lot more like you and me. You see, when Moses was first called to lead the Israelites out of slavery, he was afraid, he was unsure, and he didn't just doubt his own abilities, but he had significant doubts about God's plan. God said, hey, look, Moses, I'm going to be with you. There will be deliverance. After you take the people out of Egypt, you will worship me on this mountain. God is speaking as if these things have already happened. God gives Moses some incredible promises. He said, it's going to be my hand that reaches out and strikes the Egyptians with all the wonders, and they'll let you go. And not only that, but you'll leave with provisions. You actually won't leave empty-handed. So you'd expect that Moses' response would be like, okay, God, let's do this. But actually what we find in Exodus chapter 4, verse 1, it says, Moses answered, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? Okay, God, that sounds great and all, but you see, Moses had all the excuses in the world not to move forward with the plan that God had for his life. Between Exodus 3 and 4, we see 5 different excuses that Moses gives God. I'm just a nobody. I don't have the authority. No one will believe me. I can't speak that well. And actually, I'm unqualified. And you see, we do the same thing. We read the Bible and we read God's promises as if there's a disclaimer. I believe God can use anyone except me because fill in the blank. I believe God can use anyone except me because I come from a broken family. I was abused. I've failed and made some serious mistakes in my life. So what's your excuse? And what's so great about our God is he shows up in a unique way in the midst of our fear, in the midst of our doubt, in the midst of our excuses. And so we're going to pick back up in chapter 4, verse 2. It says, then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. This, said the Lord, is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. You see, the staff in Moses' hand represented so much. It was no longer the royal scepter that he once held as a prince in Egypt. Instead, it was a dead stick that he used to herd his father-in-law's sheep. It was a humble reminder of the experience that Moses has had over the last 40 years in the desert. And what does God ask him to do with it? He asked him to throw it down. You see, God wanted to take this dead thing, this thing that was familiar and ordinary to Moses, this thing that represented a lot of pain, and he wanted to transform it. And he wanted to use this simple item, a staff, to prove that God would be exalted. And you may know the rest of the story. Moving forward, this staff would no longer be called Moses' staff, but instead it would be referred to as the rod of God. It would part the Red Sea. It would smash a rock and water would flow from it. It would be held over battle until Israel won. So my bet is you've got some pretty good excuses in your life on why you can't move forward with fulfilling God's plan. I know I do. But I think God wants to meet us and start in the same simple way by asking us, what's in your hand? So what is it that you need to bring to the feet of Jesus today? My bet is as you look, you won't have to look far to know that there's something very close to us that he wants to use. For David, it was a sling and a rock that took down a giant. For a little boy with a lunchbox, it was 2 fish and 5 loaves that fed 5,000 people. What is it that you need to throw down so he can transform it? If we truly want transformation, we have to be willing to release whatever is in our hand to God so that he can take something that is dead and bring it back to life, taking ordinary things and making them extraordinary, all for his glory. Hope you found some encouragement in this message, Daily Dosers. Take care, and we'll see you next time.